I would like to go over Flexbox, and I am using the navigation as an example. In order to use Flexbox, you need an outer container, which is called the Flex container, and you need children. These are the Flex items. So there are two concepts, the Flex container and the Flex items. Certain properties are set for the Flex container, certain properties are set for the Flex items. And there are a lot of different properties, and how you combine them allows you to create different types of interactions, so to speak. Flexbox works best not as a page layout tool, but as a tool for instances where in the past we had to use float. So it is a replacement for the float property, and it works much better than having to deal with the floats and clearing the floats and all the other headaches that we had. All right, and I'm using a website example. The URL is available for you. So here we have the concept of Flex containers and Flex items. So if this was a container, here you see 1, 2, 3 items. And we work with two axes. The main axis is essentially the x-axis or the horizontal axis. And that's usually the default. Usually we're working with things going across in a row. However, we also have this vertical axis or the y-axis. So you can situate things along either axis. The y-axis or the cross-axis, as opposed to the main one, would probably be used in situations where the heights are of uneven size. You also have what are called the starts and the ends. All right, so this is just some terminology that is used. So let's take a look at the support. Excellent support right now, even IE 11. All right. Okay, so here again, they're using classes. So at minimum, display flex and the W3C syntax seems to be well supported. This is applied to the parent container, and what it will do by default, it will float the items alongside each other. All right, and you can also do it inline, but you generally don't. All right, the flex direction. Okay, there are two directions. Here again, the default is row, so you don't have to specify row. You will get that automatically. And here again, it will put the children lined up very easily inside the parent container. Any space left over is left over. There are ways of working with that. All right, you can reverse the direction should you want to. Rather than going from left to right, you can go from right to left. There you go. All right, you also can stack things up in a column effect. And this comes in very handy in the media queries, where you have the smaller devices where things don't look good in a column layout. All right, and you can reverse the columns also. And these properties are applied to the outer container, the flex container. All right, the flex wrap. By default, items do not wrap. However, if they're too big, meaning it will squash them into the row or column. Well, a row. Columns aren't really, columns could wrap. However, you can tell it to wrap onto the next line. So here's an example where they're going to be squashed or shrunk to fit the outer width. Remember, this is a parent-child relationship. However, if you tell it to wrap, it will redistribute. Here again, it's not going to fill in the gap, but it will redistribute. And here again, this would work very nicely as you're readjusting the website for different screen sizes. It would automatically flow. You don't have to tell it to do anything. All right. And you can reverse the wrap. All right. There is a shorthand where you can set the direction and the wrap. So I will go over there. Justify content. This justifies along the main axis. This is the left axis. All right, so let's take a look at how this might work. All right, so by default, this is the default. Justify content here, flex start. When things start floating next to each other, they're going to start at the start. That's the flex start. However, you might want them to start at the end. This is the end. You can start it at the end. However, you might want them to be centered. So here again, it will evenly distribute based on the amount of available space, equal to the left and to the right, very similar to centering a container in traditional CSS. Okay, and that's justify content. Now we also have space between. Here again, it will even out the space between, based on the size of these things. Ultimately, they do have a size, whatever is set. And we also have space around, which is the one I like a lot. So we have a little bit of space to the right, a little bit of space to the left, equal, and then we have equal space in between. No need to deal with margins and floats. Very nicely, this is the justify content property. Space around. Very nice. All right. Align items. All right. This is similar to justify content. However, it works on the cross-axis, not the main axis. The cross-axis is the y-axis. All right, so here again, by default, it starts at the top. Now the top is up here. So this is more of a vertical alignment. And here again, you can set them to stretch if they are of uneven height. All right. So here they are at the flex start. Remember that in this case, the flex start is at the top of the container. You can set them to flex end, which would be at the bottom of the container. How nice. You can put something at the end of the body. Or in the center. Now remember, this is vertical alignment with respect to the container. All right. Or to the baseline. All right. And we also have stretch. All right, stretch will stretch them so that they will fit in, and it will distribute them as needed. Different ways. All right, there's a few more properties down here. And these are for the Flexbox items. The above properties were set to the Flex container. You can actually set the ordering differently. It is the order property. It takes a numeric value. You can change the order. For example, order 2, order 1, order 0, order 0, order -1. So that would be the first position, the next positions, the one after that, the one after that. So it's just a nominal type of value that indicates based on the other values. Okay, here's Flex Grow, where it will automatically fill out all the space. Very nice. These are set to the Flex items. You can also have Flex Grow set to a higher value for 1. Here again, it's just a relative number. It means this is going to be 3 times what the rest of them they are. They are 1. You can also shrink. So here again, possibly on a media query, you might want to shrink something. And the syntax is the same as with Flex Grow. And there is a shorthand called Flex Basis. No, that's not the shorthand. This takes the default height and width. And there's a shorthand for that, which is the flex property, which takes the grow, the shrink, and the basis. All right. So this tutorial is available for you on Blackboard. There is also this very nice Flex playground where you can actually come in, add children, play around with some of the different properties, and see how it actually works.